Oh my gosh, y'all. First of all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by. I just ran and dropped something off at the UPS return box, and now I'm freezing, and I'm going to use that as my excuse to go home and curl up on the couch and start reading books, which I will tell you all about as soon as you like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. So yeah, y'all, I've been talking about books. I've made video after video listing books and showing y'all books and talking about reading books. I'm gonna start reading books today. And I'm either going to start with, I've narrowed it down to The Fourth Wing or Project Hail Mary. And I haven't decided yet. And I haven't decided how I'm going to decide, but it's going to be one of those two books. And I'm proud of myself for narrowing it down to just two, because my list up until now was this long. So I'm headed home. I'm going to snuggle up on the couch. By the time I get there, I will either have decided which book to read or decided how to decide which book to read. So I will meet y'all there. I will let you know what we're going to read, and maybe I'll start reading it and then let you know when I know something. I don't know. But either way, I will see y'all back at the house, because y'all, I'm cold and I'm ready to curl up with the furry felons and start reading. So I'll see you there. All right, y'all, the furry felons and I are posted up here on the couch. We have decided to start reading Project Hail Mary. We just made a unilateral decision based on absolutely nothing. But I've started reading. I'm about 40-ish pages in, and figured I should stop and let y'all know before I got too far and forgot what I told you, what I hadn't told you. So Project Hail Mary, we talked about this a couple of times. It is from the author of The Martian, which, y'all, I shouldn't tell y'all this, but every time I think of Martian, I think Martian, because remember in Clueless when Cher has to do the debate and they're debating on Haiti, and she keeps saying Haitians. So sorry, so that's just in my, like, imprinted in my brain. So I think Haitians, so then I think Martian. I know, probably could have saved that and not told it, but anyway. So Andy Weir, who wrote The Martian, also wrote y'all, that cracked me up. Also wrote Project Hail Mary, which is about, I now know, a dude named Grace. Ryland Grace, I believe, is our main character. He's at least our narrator so far. And he wakes up on like a spaceship or in some kind of like space vehicle. Doesn't know who he is. And it's, y'all, the writing is so good. And it's so like, sort of like, it's just so chill. It's so casual. It's very, very easy to read, which is why I wanted to stop and talk to y'all before I get 100 pages in and go, oh, wait. So Ryland Grace is out. He's on this ship, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know why he's there, has no memories of anything. Well, his memories start coming back to him, but in like dribs and drabs. So he's trying to like, somehow he figured, I can't remember how, but he figured out that he's from San Francisco. So like now he knows that about himself. Well, then like he has a flashback to himself in an apartment or in a house, and he doesn't know which it is. And he's like watching a NASA broadcast, and he, like now him, remembers then him thinking, oh, that's really cool, whatever it is that's happening in the broadcast. My kids will think that's really interesting. And then he's like, oh, now him thinks, oh, I have kids. But then he looks around the apartment and is like, well, it doesn't look like there are any kids live here. So he's trying to deduce from that, like, what that means about his life. Like, is he divorced? Like, what's the deal? Where are his kids? So it's just really interesting how he's trying to piece together his, like, who he is, his existence, from these sort of dribs and drabs of memories that are coming back to him. And there's no like omniscient narrator that tells us what's going on. So we're figuring it out along with him. So it's very interesting so far, even though we have no idea what's going on. So I'm going to keep reading. I'll come back and let you know when I figure something out. But so far, I really like it. Y'all, we are headed oot in a boot, and it's cold, which is standard because, you know, I mean, you can see the snow. I knew it was going to be cold because, you know, I live in Minnesota, but the intern booted me out of the garage, booted my car out of the heated garage so he could park the snow tractor mobile plower thing in the heated garage to let the snow melt off of it. So I had to get in a cold car. And even though I did remote start it, because I mean, I'm not an animal, I did remote start it, but I didn't let it sit and warm up. So it's cold and everything in it is cold. Like, I just put on my sunglasses, and y'all, that's what my voice, if my voice is like 4 octaves higher, that's why, because everything is just cold. But let me tell you what's up. So we're going oot and a boot. I have to think about where we're going. Okay, hang on. All right, we'll go this way. We'll go this way first. We have multiple things to do. But y'all, I've been reading Project Hail Mary, and I didn't want to stop reading. And I have my car Kindle with me, of course, because as I mentioned, I'm not an animal, but I got to do the driving. So I can't be doing the reading whilst I'm in the car. So I'm going to listen to Project Hail Mary. I downloaded it on Audible. Yes, I own the book, the Kindle, and now the Audible version. I don't have the paperback, so y'all quit judging me. Anyway, I'm gonna listen to it, but I wanted to tell y'all that I want to tell you what's going on before I start listening. So I gave you the basics, that our friend Grace is on the ship. He's out in space, doesn't know why, woke up out there. And did I tell you his friends are dead? So he's on the ship. I think I might have told you he's on the ship by himself, which he wasn't really by himself. He's on the ship and his shipmates are dead. And doesn't know why he's there, doesn't know what's going on, doesn't know who he is. So he starts gradually figuring these things out. And I don't want to tell you too much because it's really fun, figuring those things out with him, or going along with him as he figures them out. But I got to tell you some stuff. I think everybody knows already that he has to save the earth. And he figures out that he's a teacher. And he's advising the whole thing. But then he's like, but I'm here. So what happened? How did I get here? So as he's dealing with being in the middle of space and having to figure out all of these things, he's also trying to understand, my steering wheel is heated, so I'm trying to find the good hot spots to hold on to. Because y'all, stop it. What was I saying? I can't remember. Anyway, so great. I just distracted my own self. So that's the book. So Grace is trying to save the world, but trying to figure out also how he's supposed to save the world, trying to figure out his mission. So I'm going to start listening. Our friend, I believe it's Twins Harmony, is that who told me that she listened to, y'all know what I'm laughing at. She listened to Project Hail Mary as well as the Martian. That's what I'm laughing at. That it really is Martian in my head, The Martian, and that they're very good. So I'm about to start listening. Y'all, look at my hair. I was drying my hair and reading I do this when I say Kindle version, even though Kindle version is this, not this. But I was reading the Kindle version while I was I'm not even, I'm driving 30 miles underneath the speed limit. Drying and straightening my hair while reading. So that's why my head looks like this. I thought about calling the intern and seeing if he wanted to meet for lunch. And then I was like, no. I almost put on a hat, but then I was like, whatever. I don't care. I remembered that I don't care. So, but I do care enough not to go see the intern. So I'm going to run. I have to go. Y'all don't care where I'm going. I got to go drop off a return I have one of those Amazon returns that's so cheap that I either have to drop it off at Kohl's or pay $1 for free shipping. What the actual, and I just didn't, I know that if I reach out to Amazon, whatchamacallit, customer service, I can pitch a fit and they would help me and give me like free shipping, but I don't even care. So I'm going to go to Kohl's, drop that off, maybe look for a cute shirt to wear to mine and the intern's niece's christening on Saturday. Got to do that. Got to drop off something at the UPS box. So I'm going to listen to the book the whole time. So I'll come back. And I know it's going to be great because, like I said, our friend Twins Harmony said that, I hope I'm saying that right, y'all, when I read your names, like I'll read them a couple times and then they become something in my head, like the Mardian. So then, like when I see your picture, your name is what I think it is. I don't necessarily read it. So probably half your names, when I see your comments, I probably think your name is one thing and it's really something totally different. I need to stop talking. So I'm going to go. I'm going to listen to, I almost said I'm going to listen to the Mardian. I'm not listening to the Mardian. I'm listening to Project Hail Mary. And I'm sure that it's going to be fantastic. And I'll come back later and tell y'all how great it is. Y'all, I have to tell you, how many conversations do we start with? I have to tell you what just happened, because I have to tell you what just happened. So we're leaving Kohl's because I was out running my errands and I decided, so I did all my other stuff, but I decided that my last errand, sorry, there's a guy there that I thought was going to get all squirrely and jump in front of me, get all froggy and jump in front of me. Now I'm mixing metaphors. I'm losing my mind. Anyway, let me calm down. So I did all my other runnings about and decided that I would go to Kohl's last because I needed to walk around and see if I couldn't actually find something there. And y'all, never go into Kohl's with something in mind that you actually want to find, because it's never going to work out well for you. Anyway, did so. Walked around Kohl's listening to Project Hail Mary. And when Rocky, so y'all, if you have no idea, then you have no idea. But if you know, you know. When Rocky starts talking, and when he says thank to Grace, because Rocky says thank, not thank you. When he says thank to Grace, y'all, I might have cried a little bit. It is the cutest. I'm in love, like true blue in love with Rocky in Project Hail Mary. And I was already in love with him, but then his little voice, oh, y'all, I'm about to cry talking about it. And then, yeah, when he said thank, oh my God, I didn't lose it, but like, I lost enough that I had to leave the store. So I just like put down what I was looking at and just walked out like nothing had happened, like I wasn't sniveling. So I am not fit for public consumption today, apparently. So I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna put on some comfy clothes, I'm gonna sit on the couch and read my book, because that's apparently all that I can manage. Ooh, I'm about to get behind a dang salt truck. Anyway, so that's what I'm finna do. Y'all, yes, Project Hail Mary in all its formats, hardcover, Kindle, and Audible, fantastic. I'm not done yet. I'm gonna go, I won't finish, I don't know when I'll finish it, depends on how much reading I get done today, obvi, but I'm gonna go sit on my couch and read, because y'all, look how yickety it is outside. Can y'all see out my windows? It's yickety. I have no business let's turn on my windshield wipers. I'm gonna get myself killed if I keep trying to drive around. Oh, I'm running a yellow light. No business being out in this, so I'm gonna go home. So I don't know, maybe I'll check in with y'all later and let you know what's going on. If not, I will see y'all tomorrow. All right, bye friends. Y'all, we gotta talk. So yesterday, when I said I had done all of my errands before I went to wander about Kohl's and listen to Project Hail Mary, apparently what I meant was I had done half of my errands, got all wrapped up in the book, and completely forgot about the other half, because I got home and realized I had only run half my dang errands. So now, that was yesterday, now today is today, and I got to go back out and finish running my errands. And it's cold, and I was parked outside in the snow, and I had to scrape snow off my car. Y'all, I can't. I seriously can't. So let me tell you what's up. Not in like real life, because real life is just whatever. Everything's fine. But in Project Hail Mary, y'all, freaking Grace and Rocky are about to kill me. because they keep getting in all these shenanigans. I'm worried, I'm scared, so now they may have come up with a solution to the problem of saving the world, but I don't know that it's a good solution. And I'm not going to tell you anymore because I want you to read the book. But okay, you ever have somebody like come up with an idea and you're like, all right, that's either the dumbest idea I've ever heard or it's absolutely brilliant? This is one of those. It's like, I don't know. It seems like it could go profoundly wrong, or it could be the solution we've been looking for. So now all that's left to do is finish reading the book and find out what happens. So that's what I'm going to do. Did I tell y'all I was supposed to run to the Walmart and get my prescriptions? Didn't do that. I did tell you I had to run by the UPS mailbox. Didn't do that. So I'm going to run to the Walmart, pick up my prescriptions, run by the UPS mailbox, drop off a return that I got to return. Then I'm going to go home, post up on the couch, and finish reading this book. That's my day. That's all I got planned. So do not expect to see me again until I'm done. And now I can't tell you, well, I won't tell you anything more about I feel like I've already told you too much about the plot. I'm sorry. I hope it doesn't make you not want to read the book. That drives me crazy, watching people talk about books. And especially, like, I was going to say something about another book. Like, I'm not going to, I hope they don't do this like they did in that book, because then that's going to ruin that book. Like, I was watching, and I can't even remember what the book was now that the person was talking about. So there's no chance I'm going to, well, maybe I will spoil it for you because you might know what book I'm talking about. But I just remembered what book it was. She was telling about a book, and it was like one of her not like a didn't do it for her books, like that everybody liked, but it didn't do it for her. And she's like, yeah, because you get all the way through it and you find out the narrator isn't who you thought it was. And I'm like, hello, spoiler alert. Like, and I haven't read the book, so I don't know. But I was like, what did you just do? Like, well, now I guess I'm not going to bother reading the book. Not that I was necessarily going to read it anyway, but it just flies all over me. And y'all know how it makes me crazy when somebody talks about a book series or like the third book in a series, and they say something when they talk about that ruins like the first book for you. So where you're like, oh, well, now I guess I know that she dies and that they don't have that baby, or like whatever it is. I totally just made that up, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be careful when you're like talking to bookstraverts about books, that you don't like ruin another book by talking about a book. I don't know. Anyway, I'm all outside my head, y'all. This book has me just completely twisted. So I'm going to go to the Walmart. I'm going to go to the UPS. I'm going to go home and finish this book. And then maybe I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I might come back and tell you what I thought if I feel like I can be trusted to do it without spoiling anything. So I did not brush the snow off the hood of my car, and now it's blowing up into like my windshield. I'm the worst. Anyway, I'll be back later, probably tomorrow maybe. I don't know when, but I'll be back at some point and let y'all know what I think about Project Hail Mary, like in all right? So I'll see y'all then. Bye now. Y'all, I finished Project Hail Mary. Oh my goodness. So I know I said I might not. Did I say I wasn't going to come say anything? I don't know. I was thinking I maybe couldn't come say anything because I said too much already. But then I was like, well, I can't not say anything. Y'all, the ending of this book, I was like sitting trying to read and I was getting so anxious. Y'all, I got so anxious I had to go put on my comfort hoodie. I needed me some Sweet Alice to like calm me down. Y'all remember Sweet Alice? She's from my buddy Grimskull's collection, which I'll link below. It's grimtees.com. But y'all, I needed some Sweet Alice because I was getting like so anxious. I couldn't sit still. So I was walking around trying to read, and y'all know me, I can't walk and walk, let alone walk and read. So then I was like, all right, stop trying to walk and read, just listen to it. So then I was trying to listen to it and like just like be still and listen. And then I was like up walking around, washing dishes, doing stuff. My prediction was completely right and absolutely wrong all at the same time. And if you think you can't be completely right and absolutely wrong all at the same time, you have not known me for very long, because I can. the conclusion of the book, not necessarily like the ending, but like how the whole end of the story comes together. It's heartwarming and heartbreaking, and it's happy and sad. Y'all, it's all the things. I laughed, I cried. Like, I'm glad I finished it, but I'm sad it's over. I don't even know. But I absolutely highly recommend. I don't think there's anyone to whom I would not recommend this book. It's kind of sciencey in parts, but the sciencey parts, I just like, even though I had no idea what they were talking about, I just kept reading because it doesn't, not that it doesn't matter, but it doesn't really matter. Like, I'm sure if you understand the sciencey bits, it's interesting, but I had no idea what they were talking about for many of the sciencey bits, and it was still really interesting. The characters, even though for the most part of the book, the only characters that we have in like actual sort of, not first person, but like that we're there with, there's like one character and then two characters, but much of it is told in like flashbacks or like a flash sideways, if that's possible. And it's done in such a way that it sort of develops and fleshes out those other characters so that you feel like you know them, like not just Grace and Rocky, but other characters as well. And it's really cool. It's very well done. So what was I even saying? I don't know. But I highly recommend Hail Mary to everybody. Should read it. Y'all are lucky I can't assign you books, because if I could, that would be on the top of our books assigned to read list. So that's done. Check, check. I should probably just go read The Martian now, but I'm not going to. We can go fly some dragons. Y'all, I'm finally going to read Fourth Wing. I don't really know anything about it except dragons, and first of all, that reflection is horrible, but I'm gonna put that down because that's probably blinding y'all, and I'm sorry. But I know that it's dragons, and that folks say it's like Hunger Games mixed with whatever the dragons of, is it Perth? I don't know. I don't know dragons, but I'm apparently about to learn dragons because Fourth Wing. So I just did it again. So I'm going to start Fourth Wing. I don't know, and y'all go ahead and be mad. I'm probably going to call it The Fourth Wing because y'all know how I do. So go ahead and be mad about it. But I'm going to get started on that, and I will come back in a while when I know anything more than dragons. All right. So y'all hang out, and I'll be back. Y'all, I am so miserable. So I'm about to get on the bike. I just finished teaching, and I could seriously just go get back in the bed right now. I stayed up too late last night reading Fourth Wing, and yeah, I'm just tired. So let me tell you what we know so far. We already knew it was about dragons. So our main character, Violet, is the daughter of like the head honcho of this society that's at war. I don't know if it's her mom, not her dad, but I don't know if mom's like the commander or whatever she is, but she's like the head honcho. So Violet, and everybody gets conscripted when they turn, I think Violet's 20. So I guess it's when they turn 20, they get conscripted. So it's conscription day, and she thinks, like, she's been under the impression that she's going to get conscripted into the nerd corps, the scribe corps. But Mama says, no ma'am, you're going to be a dragon rider. No, I want to say Sorensen, but that's wrong. Sorengale. No, Sorengale, is that right? Is going to be a scribe. You're going to be a dragon rider. So, you know, you're going to be a war hero like the rest of your family. So she finds out as she's about to go to war that she's going to war as a dragon rider. So her sister is a bad A dragon rider. Mira, I think his sister's name. So Mira takes her aside and is like giving her pointers about essentially how not to die and like who to be friends with and who will take her under their wing. And she tells her that her mom, or I guess reminds her that their mom has a lot of enemies and that those enemies are going to come for her. Like that people that have died in battle or whatever, or like that their mom has killed, that their kids are now coming up with Violet and her class and to keep an eye out for them. So Violet's like, freaking great, thanks for that. So then we go with Violet to essentially war college, war school. And the very first thing she has to do is like run through this gauntlet to like survive this challenge to get to war school where, I don't know, like 20% of people that try to do it die. And did I say Violet was like, she grew up thinking she was going to be in the nerd corps. So she's this like little bitty nerdy girl. Like she's not, you know, physically imposing or like physically fit or whatever. But we learn really quickly that she's smart and that she's very kind. So we'll see how that works out for her. So we go to War College with Violet, and y'all, as always, I got to be careful what I say because I want you to read the book. And part of the enjoyment of reading the book is like learning these things along with the character or like as they go through it. But obviously, you know that, I mean, I guess your main character can die, but we at least assume, I assume that Violet's not going to die. I guess I don't really know. But so we go through War College, or we're at War College with her, where she's learning about like strategies of war, and we learn about the dragons. And these, did I say they're going to become dragon riders? Like instead of being a scribe, she has to become a dragon rider. And we're learning about the dragons. And y'all, it's really cool. Like we learned that the dragons bond with riders, and the dragon picks their rider. And once the dragon picks their rider, at some point, they, I guess, give the rider an ability or something, unleash an ability in the rider, something. Because the ability that the rider gets is based on the rider, not the dragon, or maybe the rider and the dragon, something, I don't know. But you can't assume the ability you're going to get necessarily based on your dragon. So we're at War College, we're learning War College-y things, and Violet, of course, being like the runt of the litter, is the, like in every group that she's in, she's sort of the liability, and she's treated that way by some, but she's also making friends, so that's nice. And there are boys and girls there, so I assume there's going to be like some boy-girl things going on, but that's what I know so far. I got to go get on the bike and ride some. Y'all, I'm not excited today. I'm not happy with myself for the decisions that I made yesterday about staying up too late and reading this book. So I'm going to go ride for a while. Hopefully I'll feel better. And then I have to work today, but I'll come back at some point. I'm going to ride and read. So I'll come back later and tell you what I know. But the book, it's a big old honker, and it doesn't really look young adult. It doesn't have that like YA kind of typeset to it, but it's kind of YA-ish to me. Like everything is just a little bit surface level. So I'm not necessarily saying it's YA, but it's just not very deep. Like there aren't a whole lot of things to think about, at least so far. So I say that to say that the reading is going pretty quickly. So I'm going to read some more. I got to work. And then at some point today, I'll come back and let you know what more I learn. All right. So y'all sit tight and I'll be back. Y'all, we need to talk about some dragons. I've been sitting here trying to think about what we need to talk about because, of course, I don't want to tell you too much because I want you to read the book. And I know I've been saying this for like an hour now, like through this whole video, that I don't want to say too much and take away the fun of like discovering these things as you're reading. So I'm trying to think of things that like happen early on so that it doesn't like take away too much. It's not a spoiler, but that it actually tells you something. What am I even saying? I don't know. So we've talked about how Violet goes and her mom makes her become a says she can't be a scribe, she has to become a dragon rider. Well, you know in these books that when they tell you something, or like when a character has a trait or a characteristic, or there's something about them that's like different than other characters, you know they have to have it for a reason. So when we knew from the jump that Violet was like a scribe, like a nerdy girl, and that she had worked with the scribes all this time and that she was like good at what she did, that there had to be a reason for that. So I suspected from early on that was gonna like have something to do with her, like it was going to play into her success. Bear that in mind. So she's going through Dragon Rider school. And much of it is kind of predictable, like that. Like, you know, she's a nerd, so you know she's going to use her like nerdy girlness and like, you know, do well in the nerdy girl classes, which she does, which is pretty interesting. And the character development is interesting and super fun. Y'all, there's this. So, I know I just interrupted myself. We talked about how her mom is the commander or whatever. Well, Mira, the sister, had warned Violet that people were going to want to kill her because they wanted to kill her mom, and, you know, killing her was the next best thing. So there's this boy, it's not Xander, Zaphod, Xerog, Zayden. Hottentot hottie, who's above, like, ranked above her. He's in charge, like, over her. Anyway, don't want to say too much. I've already said too much. But what was I going to say? Oh, so I think Mom either killed or had his dad killed. So then I think we learned this really early, that he killed Violet's brother. So we don't like him. He's not our friend. And he and Violet, of course, are like sworn, like their families are sworn enemies because they keep killing each other, like generation after generation. So you know that they're going to end up bumping uglies. Like there's no way that they don't. And I don't know, it hasn't, like, nothing's happened yet. Like they still hate each other, but they can't not. Like there's that tension there. So this is going to be one of those predictions I can't tell you, but that is my prediction, is that something, because their dislike for each other is so obvious, that something has to come of it. And they can't kill each other because that's gross. So something has to happen there. And let me go on ahead and warn you that this book is not scared to kill your friends. So I'm not sure. I don't think Violet will die because I think she is the protagonist that we're going to follow through. Like there's already another book. So I think she's the one that we're going to follow into the next book. I don't know. I haven't read. I've learned not to read the previews for the next book. When I read the preview for the fifth Boys of Toman book and learned something about some of our friends that I didn't want to ought to know going into book 1. So I've learned not to read previews of sequels at a certain age. You'd think that before reaching a certain age I would know that. Oh no, I didn't know that anyway. So what am I talking about? I don't think they're going to kill Violet, but now I've got Xerox in my head. Now I'm going to think Xerox when I think of him. Zayden. Now I've no part of me thinks that Zayden is safe. And y'all, they ain't scared to kill dragons. So they tell us early on that when a rider like the riders and dragons are so closely linked that when a rider dies, I don't think it always happens because there are some dragons who have lost their riders and now they won't bond with, or they haven't bonded with anybody else. But so obviously they have survived the death of their riders, but when a rider dies that can kill their dragon, y'all, how are we going to survive that? And now that they've told us that, you know we're going to see it. Like, they don't tell you something like that and then not make you watch it. So, yeah, here we go. I don't know whose idea it was for us to go to war riding dragons, but here we go. So, I don't know what I came here to tell you. I don't know if I've told you even a single thing, but I'm quite enjoying the book. I love the dragons. The book's a little predictable so far, but y'all know, and I was going to say like I've predicted everything, but you know that as soon as I start thinking that I'm predicting things in a book, it takes a 180 and everything I thought I knew, I turn out not to know. So I'm not going to say, although I did say it's predictable, I feel like the story development so far has been a bit shallow and predictable. So, but that's okay. It's interesting. I like the characters. The scenery is fantastic. And we get to fly with dragons. So that's what I know about that. I don't know if I'm going to come back and say anything else. Some things have happened that I feel like are statements, like kind of statements on life kind of things. And I want to come back and maybe say some stuff about that. But I have to think about if I can say it without giving away too much about the story. But I think it's important to talk about it because I'm going to talk about talking about it without really talking about it. And then I'll come back later and maybe say something about it. This book is, of course, about war. Like this society, I haven't even said this, I don't think. We go to war with the people that we go to dragon school, like war school with, are sort of the establishment. They are the government. And they're warring against this rebellion that's been going on. So that's the premise of the book. And I feel like there are some statements made about like war in general that maybe I'm overthinking it because, I don't know, there's a lot going on right now, like in the real world. And it's hard not to think about these things. So, like I said, some things have happened. Xerox. Zayden, and now, God, now every time I think of his name, I go through Xander, Zaphod, Xerox, Zayden. So I got that going for me. Zayden, I told you, what's her name? Violet's mom had his dad killed. So there are statements about like what happens to kids in war when their parents are killed. And it's it's an interesting statement. So I'm going to think about it. Yeah, and I didn't tell you anything because we learned that really like super early on. That's Mira tells Violet that I had to think my way through that. Like, am I going to end up editing this? Y'all, I edit out so much because I'm like, oh, and this and this and this. No, you can't tell them that because then that gives away the entire plot of the book. So I just sat here and thought about if I'm going to have to edit that whole thing out. No, because you learn early on in the book about Xander, Zaphod, Xerox, Zayden's dad. So let me go shower, because nobody needs to experience this for very long. Let me go shower. I'm going to read some more. I'm going to think about what we can talk about. And then I'm not going to see y'all again until the end of the book, at which point I will reflect on the whole book, because I've already almost like given up the whole McGill 3 times. So I cannot be trusted. So let me go shower. I'll come back. We'll visit over some deeper thoughts on messages that we get from Fourth Wing. And then I'm going to finish reading and we'll wrap this thing up. Alas, we meet again. Y'all, I promise. I got up out of this chair. I've not been sitting here this whole time. I took a shower. I smell a little better. I did some things. I read some more. I'm waiting for the snow to stop falling so that I can go shovel it. And I'm too lazy to shovel twice. So y'all are like looking right past the top of my head. Hang on. Is that better? That might be better. All right. So I want to talk a little more about Fourth Wing, of course, because that's what we're reading. But again, I can't talk about anything because I don't want to tell you anything. But here's what I do want to talk about. I know, riveting, right? Absolutely riveting. I feel like I'm one of my students trying to talk about something I haven't read, where you talk about something without talking about it because you don't really know anything about it. I do know things about the book, but I don't want to tell you things. I don't know anything about the author. I really don't know anything about her at all. But I find it interesting. It seems like she's writing a war book, or at least a book based around this conflict, from what's seeming to me to be an anti-war stance, which I find interesting because, and again, I don't want to tell too much, but Violet goes into, a couple of different rants, but one of the sort of, I don't remember if it was an internal it's kind of both internal monologue and a dialogue with somebody, but she goes into this whole thing talking about the children of war and what happens to kids when both parents are lost to war. And the person she's talking to is like, well, what do you think happens? Like, how do you think they're raised? And this person was raised as a war orphan, and the person is one of a group of war orphans who's sort of absorbed into the, I don't even know, sort of absorbed into the machine. And it's just interesting. Again, I almost said something there, but then I didn't because I don't want to give it away. But it's interesting. It seems like Yaros, the author's take on it, is that, and again, this is all subtext because this doesn't happen in the book, but it seems like her take on it is that war creates this sort of, I don't know if it's a subculture or what it is, but this population of war orphans or a generation affected by the war, which is then raised in the machine and becomes the next generation fighting in the war, which typically would be if it's, their parents are fighting or if their parents die in a rebellion, then they become the next generation in that rebellion. And y'all, it's subtle and it's subtext, but it just kind of, when I was reading it, I was like, all right, whatever. And I just kind of kept going. But then I literally went back and read it again. And I was like, I'm not sure that she's wrong. Like, I mean, without saying anything about anything, like I'm not trying to be all political, but I do think that it's something that, one, bears considering, and two, I think, and maybe this is just the literature teacher in me coming out, but two, I think that it's important that we recognize these sort of undercurrents or these messages in our literature that, we're being influenced by what we read, like that it's not necessarily just some fluffy book about dragons flying around and killing each other or killing folks or being used in a war. So there's that. And so now I started thinking about that. So my brain was already sort of in that space. And then something happened with one of the dragons. And sorry, I'm making sure the intern isn't texting me about shoveling the snow. About an ability that the dragons have that they didn't want the humans to know about because they didn't want them to use it or to be able to exploit it, I guess, as part of the war machine, for lack of better term. And y'all, I was going to say I'm absolutely certain I'm reading too much into this, but maybe I'm not certain. Maybe I just think I'm reading too much into this. But I just felt like it was a statement on, and go ahead and roll your eyes at me. I just rolled my eyes at myself. It's sort of a statement on the military-industrial complex. I know, y'all, what have you wandered into? I know. But it just seems like her character, and it is the sort of most innocent thing, but her character's concern about the exploitation of this ability, like the propensity for humans to exploit the ability to dominate or to kill, I feel like is her statement on the military-industrial complex, that it would be used to dominate and to sort of perpetuate the humans' dominance over whatever it is that they're fighting. Again, maybe I'm just overreading this thing. And honestly, maybe I was just trying to distract myself from what I'm horrified is coming. Y'all, I'm so afraid of what's coming. So our characters are working their way through school. And one of two things, like there are only two options. Once you go to like Dragon Rider school and you actually become a Dragon Rider, you either graduate or you die. Like if you don't die in school, which they ain't scared to kill our friends, y'all. But if you don't die in school, then you graduate and become a dragon rider and go to war. Like they're not going to like ride dragons in circuses or something. They are going to war. So I'm worried. Our friends are bumping uglies, which is fine. Like it's all good. Oh, we need to talk about that. This book gets spicy. And not like, 50 Shades of Grey spicy, but it definitely gets not YA. Sorry, I keep doing this and my camera's probably focusing on my finger. Definitely not YA spicy, but y'all, I've begun to realize that I don't necessarily hate spice in books, which I learned reading Lucy's Score, that if I like the author and I like the characters, I don't necessarily mind a little open door. So like this isn't wide open, like invite you in with a bag of popcorn open door, but like there's definitely some spice going on. And I mean, it's a bunch of freaking kids away at school riding dragons. Like what else do you think they're doing? So yeah, our friends are getting down and riding dragons, and some of them are dying. So that's where we are. I need to go because it looks like the snow is letting up. So did I tell you I'm gonna make goulash for the intern because he doesn't feel well and he likes goulash. And I figure if I go ahead and put on a pot of goulash and shovel the snow, then I can go sit on the couch and read until like 3 minutes before the intern walks in the door. And I don't have to like stop reading again until then. So that's my plan. Make goulash, shovel snow, read books. I hope y'all's day is every bit that adventurous, and I was about to say I'll call you back. I will not call you back. I will check back in when I'm done if I survive this book. Y'all, we just finished reading Fourth Wing and I am shooketh. Sorry, Bo is in my lap and he's all up on my microphone. And the intern is here and he's going to come in and yell at me because I'm filming in the bedroom and it's against the rules as it should be, but I had to tell y'all. Oh my God. So I can't tell you anything, but I am shooketh. Everything that I told you was absolutely right. I still believe that the author is making statements about war because everything that we thought we knew, now we don't know. What we thought we were fighting for is not what we're fighting for. Who we thought we were fighting is not who we were. Everything, y'all, all the things. I'm seriously shooketh. And like I warned you, bad things were going to happen. I bawled, like straight. But look at this face. I was absolutely bawling. Sorry, and I have like my nighttime moisturizer, my nighttime. I'm a mess. I am a hot mess. But I had to come tell y'all what had happened. I am just absolutely shook. And I kind of like, as it was happening, I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen. And then I knew, and then nope, had no idea. So yes, finished Fourth Wing. It is exceptionally good. There are twists and turns. The characters, can y'all hear, is Bo snoring right into the microphone? Sorry. I'm trying to like watch the characters are fantastic. There's some spice, and y'all, there's violence that if it were happening to people, like, it would definitely be R-rated in a movie, but it happens to not people. So I think they get away with some stuff that otherwise you wouldn't get away with, like violence-wise. But there is violence, there is sex, there is love, it's amazing. There are all the things, and I absolutely loved it. So y'all, let me get out of here before the intern finds me filming in the bedroom. But I give an absolute resounding thumbs up to Project Hail Mary and to Fourth Wing. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with us. If you made it this far, we are most definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. We upload food and fitness videos at the beginning of every week with some book videos sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.